Hi good looking, I'm Kendra Morgan Official and welcome to my channel. Today I'll be showcasing for you the new 2020 Celestial Divinity palette. This palette is an 18 pan eyeshadow by makeup artist and brand owner Pat McGrath Labs. I'll be featuring first impressions of the new Celestial Divinity palette. I'm more well known for duping your favorite high-end palettes with single eyeshadows that you may already have in your collections. So I'll put my favorite video that I have currently right now in the eye and down below, and you can check it out after this video. But today I will be duping the 6 exclusive shades to this palette for you. I'm also going to be featuring 2 looks, one more natural and then this more celestial look for you guys. So I want to get started by first looking at some yield. I'll be focusing on the 6 exclusive shades like I said before, because you guys can find the other 12 shadows in the Star Wars Dark Galaxy and the Star Wars Galactic Gold. So I'll just be featuring mainly these 6 shadows right here. I duped the 6 exclusive shades to the Celestial Divinity palette, so stay tuned. First, I want to feature this eyeshadow look for you. I know, they should have warnings before we go barefaced. Makeup Geek's Outer V brush. I am just slipping Fuchsia Shock into the lower crease. Next, with the small crease brush, dip into Venusian Orchid and just buff that around the edges. And then also bring that down on the lower lash line. Back in with that first shade and just re-intensify the pink. So I've loaded the brush up with concealer and I'm just going to use the shape of the brush to help me cut this crease. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and get off camera real quick and go get the other eye caught up to this point so that way I can make sure I even everything out. Now with this liner brush, I'm going in to re-intensify that line with the Fuchsia Shock. Super bright and super celestial. Okay. I was going to take a clean MAC brush, but actually I do want some stickage for my next couple of shadows that I'm going in with. I will be adding Megabyte to this outer portion with my MAC 242, and then on the inner portion I'll add the Lunar Champagne. Then for the overlay I'll put Dragonfly to kind of give it a green look. I also have some, just like some setting spray, hydrating mist. These shadows right here are really chunky, I guess is the term, and so they might need a little bit of help sticking. You could also use a mixing medium, but I find this to be just fine. For the lower lash line, I shall add some Major Mahogany. Stamp that right into my lash line. And then bring it up here and just feather it into that green. Then with that orchid shade, blend out the mahogany. I'd like to add just a little bit of the dragonfly, but I think I'm gonna have to be very, very careful because I've already got a lot. I didn't clean the cut crease before I started in with the color. I wasn't really sure. I am wetting my brush with this one. All right, let's add some liner. I'm going to jump off camera, clean up these edges just a little bit with some Q-tips, and then we'll be back with the completed look. So that completes the look. I do want to add another shadow that is not featured in one of the 6 exclusive shades, but is still very much an awesome shadow in the palette. So I would like to add just a brow bone highlight and an inner corner highlight. So I'll take my MAC 242 and I'm going to dip into Galactic Gold and just run that underneath the brow bone and on the inner corner. And I also want to show you guys the 6 exclusive shades in a yield video, which is also known as a swatch video. So let's go ahead and roll that footage and see the incredible, insane pigmentation and the gorgeous glittery shades. So because Pat McGrath has already released the other 12 shades from the Star Wars Dark Galaxy and Galactic Gold, I chose to feature just the 6 shades that you would be most interested in to see whether or not you would want to purchase this palette. Guys, I cannot say enough good things about this palette. It is an awesome addition to your collection. If you don't already own Pat McGrath Labs, it's a great way to dip into some of her shadows and get a great plethora of shadows to add to your collection. I don't have any shades like this in my collection that truly would represent this palette, so I chose to pick this one up. And I suggest that if you don't already own the Star Wars palettes, that you pick up this palette too, because I had a lot of fun recreating a couple of these looks. I also put together a more natural look for you guys, and I'll go ahead and roll that footage in with this. So for that particular look, I slipped some Venetian Orchid into my crease. I buffed and blended that in with a fluffy crease brush. Then I added Corruption to the outer third of the eyelid. For the middle of the lid, I chose to add that beautiful bronze shade. For my lower lash line, I added Venomous Void on the lower lash line to add that definition. And then Saturnella is what I used to buff and blend out that shade. Lastly, to add a little smoky winged liner, I chose to pick up some smoked amethyst and create a beautiful smoky liner. And that is that look. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, consider subscribing to my channel for content like this in the future. But before I let you guys leave, I do want to show you a few shades that I think dupe the 6 exclusive shadows in your collection. So if you already own the Pat McGrath Labs Star Wars collection, you might consider picking up some of these shades. The first shade that I dupe is Major Mahogany, and I use Sydney Grace's Chocolate Raspberry for that. Lunar Champagne, I use Major by Sydney Grace. And like I said before, I don't have very many shadows that are similar to this, so I had to do some research. And if you are wanting to stay with Sydney Grace, I would consider Forbidden Love, or Ladies Dancing has a really beautiful fuchsia with a more purple twist to it. For Pat McGrath's shade Megabyte, I chose Recruit from Sydney Grace as a nice complementary shade that you could add to your collection. For that beautiful duochrome dragonfly that Pat McGrath Labs put out, I chose The Greatest Gift by Sydney Grace. Lastly, Venusian Orchid, I felt like could be duped by several shadows since it is a matte orchid shade, but I have Faithful in my collection, so that's what I would dupe it with. That is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this content. If you did, make sure you subscribe to my channel so that you can see content weekly that I put out for you guys. And guys, I can't wait to see you in my next video.